Andy, I know you've never been happier than when you're sitting by a warm fire, snuggled up in a flannel and basking in the glow of an old-school budget spreadsheet.
It is a special day I can shut down the world for a little me time.
In a world full of applications, why do these antiquated documents and spreadsheets still run the world? And why haven't they been updated in over 50 years? That's why we want to talk about Coda.
Coda is a new kind of doc that brings words, data, and teams together. It comes with a set of building blocks that anyone can combine to create a doc as powerful as an app.
Coda runs our entire business here at True Story FM, from show scheduling across dozens of podcasts and scripts for thousands of episodes, to budgets and plans and wikis and more.
Coda lets us see our business in a new light. If you'd like to shine a light on productivity in your business and save money along the way, check out Coda today at thenextreel.com/Coda. It's hard to believe that we've been having in-depth weekly conversations about movies since 2011.
So many great conversations over the years about so many great movies. All that said, producing this show week after week requires a ton of work behind the scenes.
Becoming a Next Reel member gives you access to all sorts of additional and exclusive content. Plus, you're helping us keep the lights on. Just head to thenextreel.com/membership, where you can learn more about becoming a member, which costs a measly $5 a month, practically the same as one fancy coffee drink. And you get so much more.
Every month, we record a bonus episode exclusively for members. Those episodes cover movies from whatever series we're covering at the moment, or add to previous series.
Some movies we've covered that only members get to hear us discuss include The Blues Brothers,
The Russia House,
Naked Lunch,
Independence Day,
The Hot Rock,
and Relic, the better one. Plus, members get to vote on what we're going to discuss for those episodes.
We also record additional pre- and post-show content in regular episodes that only members get to hear,
like conversations about similarly themed movies.
And answering listener questions from our live member chat.
Speaking of our live member chat, we record almost all of our episodes in Discord, where members can chat right along with us live.
Members get access to other members-only channels in our Discord community as well. On top of all that, members get all episodes a full week earlier than everyone else in a private Next Reel feed just for them that includes all the shows in the Next Reel family. The Next Reel, the Film Board,
movies we like, Sitting in the Dark, and more new projects on the way.
To top it all off, members don't have to listen to ads. We've already eliminated those annoying, dynamically inserted ads that, let's face it, we all hated.
We are listening to you.
We love podcasting for a living, and those ads help to pay the bills. Now, we're counting on you, dear listener.
We promise we aren't going back to those terrible, dynamically inserted ads that don't relate to us at all. All we ask is that you consider supporting the Next Reel family of podcasts with a membership.
Again, it's $5 per month or $55 per year. Just head to thenextreel.com/membership.
thenextreel.com/membership. Get your access to early, ad-free episodes with bonus content, member bonus episodes, and access to member channels and live streams in Discord by signing up today.
Hey there, Next Reel listeners. This is Kyle and Rob from the Marvel Movie Minute podcast. We're here not to talk about Hulk for once.
Wait, what? No Hulk?
We don't have to talk about Edward Norton or Emil Blonsky or any of that stuff.
Kyle, I've been eating, drinking, sleeping green for the last 6 weeks.
But now, for once, we actually can talk about something other than big green rage monsters.
Well, because the world is an interesting situation right now.
There's a lot of stuff going on right now. So what we want to do is we're sort of starting a new thing now. We're trying to help people out. We're calling it Take 10. So what we're doing here is we're going to go into Disney Plus and pick our 10 movies that we think you should watch. Like a lot of you right now have a lot of time on your hands. Maybe you're at home or you have your job responsibilities have lessened. You have time to stream and you have a Disney Plus subscription. We thought, okay, you've watched all the Marvel movies. You've watched all the Pixar movies. You've watched all the Disney animated stuff.
Star Wars.
Yeah, you watched all the Star Wars movies. like, what's left? Well, we're here to tell you what's left because there's a lot of really good stuff that's buried deep down in Disney Plus. And so we wanted to sort of pick some of our favorites, put them out there, and then maybe they'll give you something more that you can enjoy and listen to. So maybe one or two of these things that we find, you might find a new favorite. Who knows?
And while you do all this, just a nice reminder, please wash your hands and observe appropriate social distancing.
Exactly. So this is like, we figure you're at home anyways, so why not find something else to enjoy while you're already at home and streaming.
And of course, not making light of anything that's going on.
No,
we're
trying to make the social distancing into a much more fun experience.
Absolutely.
Right. So we've each picked 10. We have not seen each other's lists, so we're just going to go down the line and talk about them. So you want to start out?
And just the preface before that is if
Yes.
you're a Disney Plus subscriber,
Yep.
and we've certainly, not that we don't get any kickbacks from Disney.
No, Disney
But
kick
Disney
back
Plus there's a lot of great ways to get it. But a couple things about the navigation of it. So whether you're using Apple TV, an iPad, a PC, a Mac, whatever, there's one thing we've noticed in doing this is what's the best way to find things. Now,
Yes.
of course, their homepage, their main screen, they've added a lot of new,
Right.
comedies.
They're
hit
the
movies.
things that they want to feature. Like, obviously, they at the time of recording, they have just added Frozen 2, so Frozen 2 has a big placement on it.
Absolutely.
Mandalorian, of course, is on there, but we're here to talk about movies.
Right. If you go to the movie section, one great way to look at this is that it defaults with the featured. So they have about, looks like 16 or 20 featured movies.
Yeah, and it's what you'd expect. It's the
Right.
live-action Lion King remake. It's Togo.
Toy Story 4.
Toy Story 4, yeah. And now Black Panther just got added to the service.
Now, there is a pull down, and you can select all movies A to Z,
Yep.
and you see everything.
Yep.
So, absolutely make sure that there's a lot more to Disney Plus than what you see on the surface. And then another thing just to also check out is make sure you go to the search page, because the search page has these fantastic quick links
Yeah.
to content that is organized.
Yeah, see, Rob showed this to me. I had no idea these things were even there.
I mean, everything from the Star Wars collection
Mm-hmm.
to the Cars collection, and the Cars collection takes you to a page that has everything that's Cars.
Yeah, and that's beyond the movies. That's all the Cars tunes, the Mater's Tall Tales. They're all in there as well.
Same thing for Toy Story,
Mm-hmm.
the Muppets. It's just it's a hidden gem in
Yeah.
Disney Plus of figuring out to find things where they
Yeah.
are.
So you can obviously go to A to Z on this, and you can find the movies that we're going to talk about if you find one you want, or you can just straight up search for it and they'll be on there. So these are at the time of recording, these are all things that are part of the service. And interestingly, when I was going through, the first one that came to my mind is not actually available. The first one I was going to do is I'm sad to say, is not available on streaming devices, and that's Sky High.
What?
Sky High is a pure Disney movie. It's like from them, so it's not even like from Touchstone or any like a weird thing. It's a pure Disney, Walt Disney Studios movie, and it's not available. So
Starring, which he appears on my list at least once, starring one of the most venerable Disney actors of all time,
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
That's right. Yeah, and yeah, it's a great movie. But like, so I say we could also do probably a whole section on. I just thought of another one too that's not available. We could do a whole section on movies that are not available on Disney Plus for whatever reason.
So
But
today-
that's not
today's
what we're
is
here
the
about
10
today.
movies.
Today we're about things you can watch today. Like as soon as we're done talking, you can go and fire it up and watch. So you want to start with your first one?
So the first one, and this is not really in any particular order, but I did put this on the list because I missed this in the theaters. It didn't do great.
Okay.
But I want to see the new Dumbo.
Oh, yeah, I've not seen that either.
Have not did just
Tim
never
Burton
got to the theater.
directed.
Right.
Michael Keaton.
Tim Burton, Michael Keaton, Colin Farrell, a movie that I absolutely wanted to see, and it came out about a year ago.
Yeah, I think so.
So this is one that we're definitely going to be watching over
Yeah.
the next week or two.
Yes, even just to see what Tim Burton did with pink elephants. I'm sure there's something in there. As they did. My first, so we're of the same generation. We're Gen X. So there's a whole period of Disney that sort of slipped by me, and that's the Disney Channel original movies. Like when those got really big, I was sort of not paying any attention to them. So like that whole thing has slipped by me entirely, except for a few. And so one of these ones is ones that my wife turned me on to, and has become a family favorite, and it's called Lemonade Mouth.
Oh, yes.
Lemonade Mouth is a great Disney Channel original one. So Disney Channel original movies, I tend to think of like the Hallmark Christmas movies,
Right.
where they have essentially a same formula, and they just do small variations on that formula. But every once in a while, one just pops. And really, like, whatever elements they put in make it go above and beyond. And I would say High School Musical would probably be something which is not on my list, but just because I don't think it needs any more hype than what it already has. I think plenty of people know what that is. It's not a hidden gem at all, but Lemonade Mouth is. And essentially, the short story of that is kind of Breakfast Club-esque of this group of kids who get into they're all in detention at the same time, and they all love this particular brand of lemonade that's available at store. That's where the Lemonade Mouth thing comes from. Is that's the face you make when you drink this lemonade? Is you make that because it's so sour. The lemonade gets taken away, and so they decide to form a band to protest this. The music is really, really good.
Yes,
for what is really catchy, and it doesn't go where you think it's going to go, because you get an idea of Disney Channel original movie and young pretty stars and pop song, and you think that it's going to go on this type of thing. They get to the end thing, and it's not at all what you expect a Disney Channel original movie to end.
No, I have not seen this.
Yeah, it's and Sergeant Bridget Mendler, who went on to do Good Luck Charlie, which is another family favorite of ours.
I think she was doing it. I think this was in the
About
middle
the
of
same
Good Luck,
time,
around the same time. Oh yeah, no, and Good Luck Charlie.
Yeah,
that was a staple in our house.
Oh yes,
when that was on.
Ours too. That's a great show to check out too. Yeah. But yeah, Lemonade Mouth, I highly recommend check it out. Even if you're not a Disney Channel original movie fan, it's a really fun, light teen comedy.
Very nice.
So.
Very good. All right, so my next pick. This is one of my wife's. I love my wife, my Margie. Yeah. One of my wife's favorite movies. It has a cut to Bill Bixby.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and it also stars in supporting roles two of my favorite comedians, Don Knotts and Tim Conway.
Oh, yes.
The Apple Dumpling Gang.
Yes.
What a great 1975 comedy. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic.
I
it's
cannot
enjoyable.
tell you how many times we rented that. That back in the days of VHS rentals, like it came in the big clamshell, and we rented it. Yeah, that was a big family favorite of ours too, and I love Don Knotts and Tim Conway.
And the fact that you can just access it, this is absolutely a movie you should watch.
And it's not quite as good sequel.
No, Rides Again. What was the
Rides Again. Yeah, but, I had forgotten Bill Bixby was in the original Apple Dumpling Gang. See, now you made me think I have to go watch that again. I haven't seen it in many years.
Right,
Apple Dumpling Gang. Yeah, good choice. I'm also going to go back even further than 1975, all the way back to 1954, because my next pick is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Oh.
Yeah, celebrating the late, great Kirk Douglas.
Yes.
This movie has a special place in my heart because I was hired by a theater company to do a play version of the original novel. And so it went on to great acclaim, and I won an award for it, and it was great. So in the process of my research, I watched this movie and every other version, and I can tell you, I have seen every version of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea that they've ever done, and this is still the best of them all. Now, obviously, it is still a 1954 movie, so I can tell you this is not Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. This is not like nonstop. But I can tell you this does have very much the seal of Walt Disney himself on it. Like, he was very heavily involved in it, so like his fingerprints are definitely on it, so you really get a sense of that. So like I say, there's some pacing issues as it goes along.
Even a lot of these movies I think we're going to mention from this
period, they're very much of their era.
Yeah, they're not the fast-paced breakneck speed plot. No, this is something different.
Yes. So I would recommend it's still a good time, and it's and everybody can watch it because it's a multi-generational movie. So 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the original.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. My next one, another favorite of my wife, and one of the ones I was talking about with our friend Kurt Russell.
Oh, Kurt Russell, yes.
The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes.
Yes.
So from 1969, this is Kurt Russell's seventh film role, which, Kurt Russell, he started acting 1963.
Yeah. Okay.
But here he is now, 1969, Computer Wore Tennis Shoes. This movie also stars Cesar Romero.
Oh, wow.
So if you're a fan of the 1960s Batman TV show, the person who played the Joker.
Mm-hmm. And also what the 60s thought of as a computer.
Yes, just all of it. Yeah. And a young Kurt Russell is just amazing to watch.
He had charisma for days.
Oh,
he had it from a young age all the way up till today.
I should note, they actually did remake this as a television movie starring Kirk Cameron.
Oh.
I don't believe that's available
on Disney+.
And I don't think it needs to be. Just watch the original.
Yeah.
It's freely available to you on Disney+. Yep. Take advantage of it.
Yeah, good choice. I was very excited when those came out to go back to those things. So that's what's fun about Disney+. So my next pick is something I don't think a lot of people know exists. So one of my passions is musicals. I love musicals, and this is a sort of a lost gem of musicals. So it's called a movie on as far as Disney Plus is concerned, but when it came out, it's actually part of the Wonderful World of Disney. And if you look it up on IMDb, you have to look it up by Wonderful Disney because they considered it an episode. And it's Annie. When we were young, there was in the mid '80s there was an Annie movie with Albert Finney. And like that, and I remember seeing that and not liking it at all.
What?
I did not like that at all. And I think if you watch this, you'll understand why. Because this is an adaptation of the original Broadway musical, as opposed to the cinematic version where they cut out half the songs and some of the characters and had a bridge and added in his manservant. There's a lot of, if you haven't gotten, it's like from '83. If you've not seen that one, it does not hold up very well.
No,
But this I'm telling you, this one, it was from 1999.
You're right.
And this has Broadway cred for days because in addition to having Miss Hannigan played by Kathy Bates, you also have Victor Garber is Daddy Warbucks. You have Kristen Chenoweth is in this in a very small role. You have Audra McDonald. I mean, come on, Alan Cumming. I mean, come on. Like this is like. You could not get any one of these people to be the star thing to be like, but have all of them in the same thing. It's directed by the guy who would go on to win an Oscar for Chicago. Like this is a lost gem. I'm telling you.
I'm adding it to my watch list right now.
Yeah.
Now.
And it has all the original songs.
Okay,
and the girl who plays Annie herself too. I don't remember her name. She's a great Annie and stuff too. And like I say, it is. I will warn you, it is a television movie. So
right.
I mean, it does not. It's not. It's not like the Annie they just did like with Jamie Foxx. Like so, it's not big budget kind of thing. So it's done on a television budget. But it is one of the best adaptations of a musical I've ever seen.
Now, however, let's go back to this.
Yeah,
the '83 movie.
yes.
I'm going to tell you something.
Drop page.
Carol Burnett.
Tim
Curry.
Yeah, Bernadette
Bernadette Peters.
Yes, that like you pull that out and it's fantastic. Put that up on the shelf, mount it, put it in laminated gold. All the rest of that movie can be thrown away.
Okay, but the soundtrack, I listen to that continuously.
I'm telling you, watch this
Really?
one and you might be listening to the soundtrack just as much. Audra McDonald.
Okay, all right. No,
I
didn't know I was going to have to defend Annie. What?
Yeah.
I loved that movie.
Okay. I'd say we're gonna. I will not take you to task with it because we're going to get into a couple of I love this movie unabashedly stuff on this very list that people are going to be like, what is wrong with
you people?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so my next one, and this one I really put out because I think people forget that everyone thinks about the sequel, or not the sequel, the reboot, the remake of it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, there's a lot of those on here.
The original 1961, The Parent Trap.
Oh, yes. Haley Mills.
Yes, which is a fantastic movie. Totally, you should see the original. I mean, this is a great movie. And
I'm a big fan of the Lindsay Lohan one.
Oh, yeah, she did a great job.
It's a great remake, as Disney likes to remake their stuff.
No, that absolutely was, but...
Yeah. The original.
The original is really, really good,
Yeah.
and you have access to it. You should enjoy that.
Yeah, exactly. And the nice thing about it is you can watch both.
Right.
All right, so I'm going in a completely different direction from that to 1979 to The Black Hole. Yeah, so Disney always had a very difficult time with like basically reaching teenage boys. Like they had their princesses, but they could never find the right formula of like cool sci-fi action stuff too. And they would do something and get really, really burned by it, and then they give up, and then they try it again. And there's a fascinating, sort of tracking this failure. And so I will not say Black Hole is the best film that Disney ever made, but I find it a fascinating piece of arcana. It stars Robert Forster, who we recently lost, so it's nice to go back and see him again.
I love him.
It's full of some amazing design. Some of the Star Wars people ended up working on this as well. So I mean, like all practical sets. I mean, really, really, and it has this sort of Moby Dick Ahab obsessive vibe about, and some
nice.
Really kind of, and Ernest Borgnine is in it too. There's some really sort of disturbing things about how far you would go to accomplish your goals. So like I say, it is definitely a 70s sort of sci-fi movie, much more than a Rock'em Sock'em E.T. inspired action kind of thing.
Sure.
So it's slow paced, but it's like it looks gorgeous, and I'm glad they have a really nice transfer on Disney Plus. So The Black Hole from 1979.
Okay, so next, and again, another love of my wife's, the original The Love Bug.
Oh, yes.
Herbie. This is 1968 American comedy. It's the first in the series of movies that Walt Disney produced about a Volkswagen Beetle who was Bumblebee before Bumblebee was Bumblebee,
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
So,
and he just wants these crazy kids to get together.
right?
That's like his whole goal. He's not trying to save the world. He's just trying to get this hapless dude to fall in love with this woman.
Right. And this is the original, and still a pop culture thing because Hallmark still does Herbie ornaments from time to time.
Some here in Phoenix. There's a guy with a Herbie that drives around.
Bringing up Lindsay Lohan again.
Yep.
Lindsay Lohan was in a
Fully
fairly
loaded.
good.
It's fairly good. Yeah, I almost
Herbie
made my
movie.
list. It was
Really?
I would say it was probably in the teens.
And interesting, Michael Keaton in that
Yeah.
movie as well.
Yeah,
So
and written by the guys who did Night at the Museum.
it has one of my favorite comedic actors of this era, Buddy Hackett.
Yeah.
David Tomlinson.
Yep.
Tomlinson
Yeah,
is
from
in this. Mary Poppins,
and
who
Ben Hobbs and Broomsticks.
is still to be mentioned on a movie on my list.
Oh,
still
nice.
yet to come.
Okay.
Was a staple for Disney
Mm-hmm.
for musicals and for their sort of like whimsical
Yeah.
comedies like this.
And the late great Dean Jones.
Yes.
Love Dean Jones. I will tell you this. There was a time in college when a friend of mine introduced me to writing of fan letters. I wrote a fan letter to Dean Jones and got a signed picture as a response.
What?
Yeah, he wrote me a very nice little note to it too.
That's
so
awesome.
I always have a soft spot in my heart for Dean Jones.
Oh, very nice. So anyway, I love that. Yeah, that's a great movie. And
Yeah.
and then if you watch The Love Bug,
Yeah.
and you think, well, I'd love to have more of this. Well, there's like
a lot
4 other
more.
movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Monte Carlo and Rides
Right.
Again, and
Only Herbie himself is the one who comes back. The
Yeah.
rest of them. There's
that is-
a rotating group of stars.
Exactly.
And there was even one, I don't believe it's actually on Disney Plus, but that Bruce Campbell did a Love Bug movie as well. There was a TV movie version of it with Dana Gould.
oh wow,
Yeah, so Herbie's been around for a long time. So yeah, Love Bug, good choice. My next one is one of those ones that I have very much nostalgia for from when I was a kid, and I've gone on about numerous places. So if you want to hear me talk at length about this, you can go listen to the Most Excellent 80s podcast. I did a guest appearance on that to talk about this movie in particular, and I've also mentioned it on other appearances that I've done. It's Return to Oz from 1985. Return to Oz is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Really?
And the worst part about Return to Oz is that it's called Return to Oz, is because
well, that's why I've never seen it.
yeah, because when you go into something called Return to Oz, you expect it to be a continuation of Dorothy's magical adventures, dancing around in a sort of 1930s dream world kind of thing. And
Right.
this is not that movie. Return to Oz is, I would put it much next to Edward Scissorhands or Coraline. It is a dark adventure story. It's still about Dorothy, but this Dorothy is probably 10. And she goes back, and Oz she goes back to is a very dangerous world. There's it's been taken over by the Gnome King. He is turning people to stone. There's the deadly desert where if you touch the sand, you turn into sand, and you cannot you're gone forever. You blow away. But the thing that's really cool about it is it was done almost all practical. So everything that's in there is very much like they were really there. His name is Jack. He has a pumpkin head. Yeah, he's on the. Well, that's the scarecrow. On the thumbnail when you bring it up. But he was a fully animatronic character. So they had a performer walking around looking like his arms were put together by sticks and stuff too, and a fully animatronic pumpkin on his head that talks.
Wow.
It is. I'm telling you, you have never seen anything like this movie. And when it came out, it was a colossal bomb. I mean, so much so that the director never worked again. This was the one and only time he ever directed. Put away your ideas of Judy Garland and Ruby Slippers and all that kind of stuff, and go watch Return to Oz with a complete open mind of just from the books. It is. I say it's dark. Dark and disturbing is I don't think because it's not traumatic, but it does deal with some tougher stuff. And so the fact this movie even exists at all is amazing. So like I say, I've already gone on too long. You can hear me talk about this for an hour.
I totally
over
want
on
to see
their
it.
podcast. But is for those of you who are interested in those kind of darker adventure stories, Return to Oz, check it out because you've never seen anything like it before. But not all that. It's not like it's Dune where you need a guidebook to follow along.
Right.
Everything you need to know, you can just as soon as you start it up, you're
You
ready
already
to go.
know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
wow.
everything that happened in Wizard of Oz, the events of Return of Oz, happened. So, like, like Dorothy met the Scarecrow and fought the Wicked Witch, all that stuff that has happened in the past, but it obviously not. It's kind of like actually going back to Incredible Hulk. It's sort of like it happened, but not the way that you quite remember it.
Right.
The events were the same, but things were a little bit different from Hulk to Incredible Hulk. So, Wizard of Oz to Return to Oz.
Oh, that's something I would never have thought of watching that.
Yeah.
And you've
Yeah,
added to the watch list.
I have 2 movie posters on my wall, and this is one of them.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, my next one, again. Oh, this episode is a love letter to my wife because these are some of her favorite movies, and I enjoy them as well.
Yeah.
The original Pete's Dragon.
Oh, yes.
Now, I got to point out because you can watch both. This
Yes.
is another thing you can watch
That's right.
both
The
versions
remake
of.
from a couple of years ago,
So
2015 or so.
yeah, I know it was just a few years ago.
Just a few years
Robert
ago.
Redford had starred in it.
I have not seen it.
It's
The remake, I
okay,
mean.
but it's not the original. And the thing that you want to see about the original is this is one of those movies where Disney took live action and put an animated character in the live action movie.
Yes.
And they did it exceptionally well.
Yeah.
This is from 1977. Again, it's got a great cast.
Yep.
Mickey Rooney, Red Buttons.
Yeah.
Okay, this
Some
is
great songs in there. Candle in
Yes.
the Water I think it was Oscar nominated from that. Passamaquoddy. I mean, yeah, there's I remember I have very, very fond memories of Pete's
Shelley
Dragon.
Winters,
Shelley
Jeff
That's right.
Conaway.
Yeah.
This is totally worth seeing.
Yeah.
And yes, again, caution, not the pacing of,
No.
of what you expect from a modern movie.
Yes.
But it will transport you and you will be entertained.
Yeah.
And you will really like the story.
Yeah,
So
I agree. Good choice, Pete's Dragon. I'm going a little more modern with this one. This is the second on my list of Disney Channel original movies that, once again, you're talking about your wife, that my wife introduced me to.
Nice.
And this is actually a favorite of my oldest daughter, who's 12, who's in the room with me. She actually is a big fan of this one, too. This is Teen Beach Movie. Now, when we were growing up, we were already way past the 60s beach movies. There was a period of those like Beach Blanket Bingo and things. But I personally saw them a lot on like daytime television. So they would the reruns, kind of like the way that we watched the Batman for the 60s or the Monkeys. It was
right.
like it was just in rotation.
Right.
So I saw those, and so I never saw them new. I mean, I saw Back to the Beach when it came out in '89 or whatever that was. So this is so there was a whole genre of just kids on the beach having fun. That was like the whole thing. Like sometimes there was an evil biker gang, and that was pretty much a land developer wanted to develop the beach, and they had to stop it.
Annette Funicello.
Yeah, Frankie Avalon. Yeah, all those kind of things. I mean,
Well, that might be dating us a little bit, but
True.
no.
There's a great sequence about these things in That Thing You Do, where they become they go and they star in one of those Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters, I think was the name of their band. But so anyways, back to Teen Beach Movie. A young teen couple are having some problems. They think they might break up, and one of the kids is a big fan of these things, and they get essentially sucked into a 1960s beach movie. And so their problems become a very different set of problems when they're just stuck in this 60s beach thing, and they have to figure out what's going on. Do they live out the movie? Do they try and stop the movie? Do they try? So it's very fish out of water. So all the characters in it are living the 60s beach movie dream, and all these are very modern people trying to adjust to life in this. And the music is great. It's just a fun. It's like, once again, Disney takes their formula, and every once in a while it produces gold. And this is one of those fantastic examples.
What a neat plan for Disney to here create a story that is interesting to a cross generation. Because yes, you're getting all the people who were growing up watching this, but then their grandparents when they're this is something they can relate to.
It's following the High School Musical formula, so it's getting the new generation, the Gen Ys, because it has that slick veneer that they put on their movies.
And I do
pretty people singing
exactly.
And
I remember when this was coming out because my daughter. The show at the time on Disney Channel that was super popular was Austin and Ally, and the title character Ross Lynch. This was a vehicle for him to expand his notoriety on the Disney Channel.
Yeah,
and so you understand how all this plays together. The Disney machine with their child actors.
Yes, exactly.
Well, very cool.
Right. So what's your next one?
So my next one, not necessarily a great movie.
Okay.
But you need to understand the historical significance of it.
Okay.
And it's also it has great characters and great actors and actresses in it. Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Yes, one of my favorites.
Now again, and I don't mean to say, oh, it's not great.
It does have some
I'm
issues.
tempering your expectations,
even
right?
if you look at Bedknobs and Broomsticks and Pete's Dragon and even Mary Poppins, they all have some pacing issues where
Absolutely.
it's like, I would say all of them are overlong, and they have even musical sequences that could really be cut pretty easily when they're doing it. So they all have that same sort of thing. But I agree with you. They're the good so far outweighs the bad.
Oh, no, absolutely. And here's what I say about the acting and the historical significance. Angela Lansbury, David Tomlinson again.
Yep.
Okay. I think you might know this story. This movie had a very interesting production problem, I guess you would say, where it was put into production, greenlit, way before Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
Because they were having issues getting the rights from Mary Poppins.
Right, which you can,
heard. That's a whole
if
other
you want
story.
to see a version of the story, you can watch Saving Mr. Banks.
Bonus
which is
edition
also
on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah, which I have some issues with that.
Yes,
so Saving Mr. Banks, I'm not recommending, but if you're curious to see, I would watch it and draw your own conclusions. But go on
And read a little extra to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, say that's movie requires some homework because you should really find out the real story behind it after you watch it.
So this movie, it goes into production. Well, then they get the rights to Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins gets
fast-tracked.
fast-tracked into
Yeah.
this. This gets shelved until 1971. Mary Poppins is as good as it is at its height because of what they learned and what they
Yes.
figured out how to do with Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Yeah.
The expertise that was generated, because again, Disney is trying to invent new ideas and
Oh, yeah.
concepts of how to merge live action and animation,
Yep.
all these different things. It's worth seeing.
Yeah.
It's worth seeing for that,
It's
just to
fascinating.
know the connection it has.
What I find interesting about Bedknobs and Broomsticks, as opposed to all the rest of these movies that we have mentioned, is that when you meet someone of our generation who watched it, and obviously we didn't watch it new, we watched it on VHS. When it came out, and when you talk about it and say, "Oh, you know what? One of my favorite scenes of Bedknobs and Broomsticks is when the witch sends the animated armor to fight the German army," and people go, "What?"
Yes.
Oh yeah, like in addition to this song, this like, oh, we go under the sea and we go to land with animals and we play soccer with animated character stuff too. Yeah, there's like a war. There's a whole war thing where she is a witch and she has to send all of this armor to fight. I mean, like, there's this great sort of inner story that around it, in addition to all the mystical, magical Mary Poppins-y thing going on there too.
Now, also too, there was actually scenes that were missing.
Yeah.
That they cut from the theatrical.
Yeah, and have never been seen again.
Well, in '96, they actually added a lot more of them too.
Do you know if those are in?
No,
the
I
Disney
don't,
Plus
and
one?
I'm going to find out
okay.
over the break here.
Yeah,
right?
let's say that makes me want to watch it even more then, because I hadn't heard that too.
And here's another reason you should watch this. You're going to hear a little bit more about this movie in the coming year, because a Broadway version of this is in production.
Oh.
So now, granted, it might be delayed because of various things.
Yeah.
But that was scheduled to debut this year.
Okay.
This is something that is going to get a little bit of reuse by Disney.
Okay.
So for the stage.
All right. Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Good choice. All right. My next one is actually one of my favorite films of all time. It probably is in my top 10 personal favorites. And it's from 1979, and it's The Muppet Movie.
Oh,
The original Muppet movie. Like this is like when the Muppets were sort of white hot. Like they were a cultural force, and like wherever they showed up, people would tune in. I mean, they made or broke shows. Like they were fantastic. And so this was sort of the origin story of how the Muppets got together. This is after the Muppet Show had already become the #1 show on television for the years it was on. This is sort of their origin story a little bit too. But the thing I like about it is that it doesn't talk down to you. There's a lot of these, even the stuff that's on Disney Plus stuff is like very much like, okay, kids, we're gonna, and like the Muppet movie doesn't do that kind of stuff at all. Like it is a straight up like adult story. They just happens to be bears and pigs and whatever Gonzo is. Right. And it's full of incredible cameos. If you're a fan of that, if you don't know who the people are, then they actually have story reasons to be there. So it's not just like, they have, Albert Brooks walk on screen and just wave to the camera. There actually are reasons everyone is there. But it's sweet. It's funny. It's got a little edge to it.
Oh, it's
a
edgy.
little dirt
It's
under the
absolutely edgy.
fingernails.
Yes.
And it has a tremendously great ending. It's difficult to watch all the other Muppet movies when they set the bar so high with this one.
Right.
But I mean, I love all the Muppet movies. But like, if you have to pick one, watch the Muppet movie.
And I would add, well, by the way, this is on my list.
Oh,
so
is it?
we just
Okay.
finally,
towards
towards the end, we actually
overlapped.
had a movie on both lists.
Yeah.
This movie will give you, when you say edgy,
Yeah.
You know when you watch the classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer Christmas special now?
Yeah.
I think people watch it now, and there are scenes where that makes you go,
Oh.
whoa.
Yeah.
They did that?
Yeah.
You do get that feeling in scenes in this movie.
Oh, yes,
right?
absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
whoa, this is interesting. Our sensibilities changed a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's a great movie to revisit because it should spark some discussion.
And in difficult times, it really leaves you with a warm feeling.
Absolutely.
And we could all use a little of that right now.
This is a good thing. This is going to be my 10th.
Oh, okay.
And I'm assuming this is on your list, but maybe I'm wrong. A little movie from 1991 called The Rocketeer.
Absolutely, it's on my thing. And you can, I think we talked about this when we did our appearance on the Saturday Matinee as well.
Right.
And I actually, even if you go back to the Secret Origins of Superhero Cinema crossover that Road to Infinity did with them, I talked about it there too. Yes, I have talked about Rocketeer a lot and will continue to talk about it until my time on this earth is done. I love The Rocketeer. But I want to hear from you though. I talk about it a lot, so tell me what you
love it. And actually, when I was making my list, it's a movie I don't think I've seen in about 18 years.
Okay.
Because I'm 91, second year of college, like my sophomore year of college
mine
for
is
me.
somewhere around there too. Yeah.
Okay, so I
think I was still in high school actually. So because you're a couple of years older.
Right. I remember seeing it in the theater here in Arizona. I haven't watched it since then.
Wow. Okay.
And just didn't get around to it.
Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to watching it again.
Yeah, and even you can watch it from the eyes of a Marvel fan too, because the guy who directed that directed Captain America: The First Avenger.
Right.
Yeah, Joe Johnson. So Rocketeer is a great pull. Yeah, that's one of those ones that you can't believe Disney made this movie. Like you look at it and go, it so does not fit into any of the rest of the stuff they've done. It is actually, there's much more Marvel DNA in that than there is in almost anything else that Disney has done live action wise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. And they could easily just insert that into continuity. That this is something that happened in the MCU. I mean, they
add a little
exactly.
steampunk so we can,
right.
Like it.
Yeah. Like, have them cross over with Agent Carter. I'd watch that.
Oh, yeah.
So, my next one is actually from 2003, and it is a little movie called Holes. This is actually starring Shia LaBeouf. And this is the kind of movie that you watch and realize why Shia LaBeouf was a giant star. Because he's so darn charismatic. Like, obviously, Shia LaBeouf now he's around that. He had a rough period, as a lot of actors have done. Like, there seems to be a thing where if you're a young actor, there's a period where like all of what you lost in your childhood catches up to you.
Absolutely, no.
And
understood.
so what they found the Nickelodeon stars were like, as soon as they almost left their shows, were sort of like going, because it's like you have all access to this time and money, and you can do whatever you want.
It's
got to be restriction.
That's got to be tough.
It's got to be tough. And so they found the Disney stars also had this happen. It just happened later. So they had this. So obviously now he is. But you can go back to his original stuff. This is right off of his appearance in Even Stevens. This is one of his first sort of big movies. And see this. Right. It's a great little movie about a family who's been cursed. Like something happened to them, and like so this family, terrible things keep happening to them, and so the terrible things then pass on to him, the son, at Stanley. Stanley Yelnats, which is Stanley backwards. And so he gets sent to like this work camp, and he has to do that. And so and it seems to be that the warden, who's Sigourney Weaver, who is just having the kids dig random holes, like maybe it's just as a really punishment, but it turns out there's a specific reason why they're there and why they're having him dig these holes, and so it all ties into the curse that goes on with him. So it's a fascinating movie. It's full of a bunch of stars. I mean, it's got Jon Voight, it's got Patricia Arquette, Tim Nelson, Dule Hill from West Wing. Yeah, and Psych.
I was gonna say
And so it's a great movie. Yeah, it's one of those lost gems. It actually did really well. So I mean, like, it's not like a lot of people have seen it, so it's not like that. But if you haven't revisited it, I'd say go back and watch it again, because it's really well done.
I think on the many episodes of various things we've recorded, I think I've mentioned this before. This movie came out in 2003. Yeah. My daughter was born in February. I went into a time suck of not getting to the theater.
I have a couple of gaps like that myself.
That's how I missed this one. Yeah, I didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So, did you have one more?
No, that was my list.
That was your 10? Okay, so I still have one more.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think probably because we even out. So my next one, actually, I guess I should have spaced it better, is a movie that came out, was excellent, and almost nobody saw, and I really don't know why. because following on the trend of the first Muppet movie, this was the last Muppet movie, 2014's Muppets Most Wanted.
I did not see it.
See, and I'm not sure why. The Muppets came back and it came out, and it was a huge success. And so they're like, oh, all right, Muppets are back. Here we go. And so they sort of did it, and we're going to do a sequel. And there's actually the opening song of Muppets Most Wanted is "We're Doing a Sequel." It's a great song about sequels. And even in the course of doing it in 2014, they make a joke about how they only got to make a movie because they're waiting for Tom Hanks to make Toy Story 4. And later on, it went on to, and they end up making Toy Story 4. But it's like, yeah, it was great. And so it is packed with great actors. If you want to, for those that are Marvel movie fans, Ty Burrell is one of the major stars of this thing. He's doing a ridiculous French accent. He is the investigator who's pursuing the Muppets. It's the Muppets on a world tour, so they're visiting all over Europe.
You know, if you want to learn more about Ty Burrell, you could listen to the Marvel Movie Minute Season 2 podcast.
That's true.
Where two very handsome, articulate gentlemen scrupulously go into detail.
Wait, I thought we were doing it.
Is that? Oh, yes. Who are those guys?
Yeah, we talk a lot about Ty Burrell during his appearance in 2008's Incredible Hulk movie.
That was a shameful plug.
Nothing shameful about it. Yeah. So for some reason, this movie came out and like nobody went to see it.
Well, I wonder why. Because I didn't see it.
Yeah.
2014. I mean, life was what it was. I don't remember anything crazy.
No.
I don't know what was not. Maybe the evil twin Kermit plotline.
Oh, Constantine is such a great character.
Really?
He sings a song with Ricky Gervais, and it's hilarious about like that he's the main bad guy, and Ricky Gervais is his sidekick. So it's I'm number 1, you're number 2.
Now this isn't. I'm pulling this up right now. Mm-hmm. Okay, now
has nothing to do with the television show.
Okay, but. The television show 2015, right?
Yes.
So they were close.
Yeah.
That show is horrible.
We could get into that. There's a whole thing about how the Muppets are treated versus how they should be handled.
Well, okay,
and
but was there maybe
I could do a whole podcast series about the Muppets.
I guess there maybe wasn't a connection because these are based on these.
There's zero connection between the Muppet television series and anything else. Except that, like the characters, it's almost like every time the Muppets show up, they're in an alternate universe because there's like very rarely it travels on. But yeah, so I'd say Muppets Most Wanted is an underrated film. Like I don't think there's anything specifically wrong with it. I just think no one went to see it. So I would say if you're a Muppet fan, I would say it's one of the best Muppet movies.
And if you're on Disney Plus,
then
watch it.
Already available to you. So as our final thought, like I have a tiny little bonus thing. So if you're feeling adventurous. So if you
and who isn't these days,
and you're sort of like, man, like I really want something I'd never seen before, something bizarre, something strange, something really like that would never be made again. I have a recommendation movie for you that is available on Disney Plus. Hot off the success of Pirates of the Caribbean, and then off the mild success of the Haunted Mansion movie, they thought, what else can we go and make a movie of? And so they looked through their archives and went, what about the Country Bears? People love the Country Bears. So they decided they make a Country Bears movie telling about the history of the Country Bears. They got the Jim Henson Company to make fully animatronic bears, and they put it out. It is a fascinating movie. Fascinating. I really love this movie just because the heart of this movie is so pure, but it is so hated by so many people because it is really hard to get past the fact that there are scenes with live action actors talking to animatronic bears. It's just because they're fully animatronic faces, eyes, nose, mouth, talking. But what's great about this movie is the music. They got like some of the same people who did the music for Oh Brother Where Art Thou to do music for this. The music is top tier country music.
I've never heard of this. I don't even know this existed.
Haley Joel Osment is the voice of the lead bear. It's like a young kid who's a fan of the Country Bears were like the Eagles essentially.
Right.
And so they've broken up, and so he's trying to get the band back together because the Country Bear Hall is about to be torn down. So he's trying to get the Bears to do a concert. So he's trying to get this dysfunctional 1970s country group who's all falling apart to get back together to do this. Because of course evil land developer. That is a recurring thing
Well,
in all
of
these
course.
Disney movies. I'd say I didn't put this in my top 10 because like I know that there's only a very small percentage of the listening audience is actually going to be interested in checking this out, but it is fascinating.
What's funny is as you're describing all that,
Yeah.
I thought you were describing Rock of Ages.
Oh, yeah. It does not very far away
That's
from that.
funny.
But I mean, there's a lot. Dietrich Bader has a big part of this. I will not reveal who the villain is, but when you see him, you will be shocked that they're like that's the guy they got to be the big bad guy in this. Bonnie Raitt sings on it. Don Henley is a voice in it. I mean, it is. I'd say even just for the soundtrack, it is great. There's a couple songs that are legitimate bangers.
You know what's interesting about this is that, okay, Disney Plus, and you can go online and read all these. Not just people are very happy with it because of the success of The Mandalorian and a few other things. But I do know there's a lot of people who are like, well, there's nothing to watch.
Yeah,
Like,
and so that's exactly why I wanted to make this particular episode, because I want to tell you there's a lot of really great stuff buried down deep in the archives
wonderful
of Disney
stuff.
Plus.
And
the
as
fact
we've
they're
been-
making it like Disney has a history of burying things.
Yes.
Like I love Disney, but they sometimes will just like things will just disappear, and you only can find it. And I'm not talking about Song of the South. I'm saying there are things out there that you don't even know Disney ever made. And the fact that they would put Disney Plus and they put Country Bears on it. Thank you, Robert Iger.
Right?
Like, this is great. I mean, the fact they put, like, the stuff that, you know what? They took a bath on this. This was a bomb, a colossal bomb.
Yeah, because I don't even remember this.
And here it is, from 2002. They're putting it out there. Anybody can watch it. My 6-year-old has fallen in love with this movie.
This is
She loves it.
added to the watch list.
Yeah.
Well, and as we've been doing this, we're here, we're pulling up these movies live on Disney Plus. And I love the movies that are coming up under the suggested thing because for this one, Bears, right?
Sure.
Brother Bear
yeah.
is one of the most underrated
Yes.
classic Disney animated movies, I won't say of all time, but of quite a time.
Yeah. Yeah, we
It
could
is
do a
a
whole section
wonderful
on
movie.
there's a lot of their animated movies that do not get, I think, nearly the love and respect that they deserve. We could do a whole thing on that, too.
The sequel, Brother Bear 2, is not so good. I mean, it's
Well, yeah, once again, there's a lot can be said about Disney direct-to-video sequels.
that's different. But,
Yeah.
but just...
Anyway, so say if you're feeling more adventurous, and like I say, it is a comedy,
Yes.
so it's not like a slog to get through. But I'm telling you, Country Bears is like nothing you've ever seen before.
Fantastic. Now I know what I can do in addition to
Right.
being with family and taking care of things and
And
working
all-
remotely.
These are all family-friendly things, so you can show them to
absolutely.
anybody in your family can stuff. So we hope we've given you guys. I hope even if one of our recommendations is something that you watch and really enjoy, we hope that it makes your time at home a little bit more fun.
Until next time when we can take another 10.
That's right. So thank you all for listening. Enjoy all the other Next Reel shows. You can, if you like our little banter, you can hear us weekly on the Marvel Movie Minute as we discuss Louis Leterrier's 2008 Incredible Hulk movie in intricate detail.
Oh, we could even use that now.
Yeah.
Scrupulous and intricate.
Right. Yeah.
Both.
Yeah, that's right. We get into the minutia. We analyze the Hulk on a cellular level.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this.
Yeah. Thanks you all for listening. Like, subscribe, do all the things. We are Next Reel all over the place. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
I love the conversations that so many of our hosts have had on their shows. Stephen JJ on Trailer Rewind, Ray and Ocean on Silver Linings, even Tommy's short-lived Wait, Hear Me Out.
So many listeners want to make sure they've watched the movie before tuning in to any discussion on our podcasts. Well, the best way to watch the movie is to look it up on our watch page.
Our watch page lists all the movies that we have discussed on all the shows from the Next Reel's family of podcasts, including the one you're listening to right now. It's your one-stop shop for Apple and Amazon links where you can rent or buy the movie.
Trailer Rewind movies like Raw,
The Nice Guys,
The Peanut Butter Falcon,
or Free Fire.
No, Wait, Hear Me Out movies like Josie and the Pussycats or Return of the Living Dead.
Or Silver Linings movies like Repo Men, Daredevil, and The Wolfman.
Plus, by using those links to rent or purchase movies, Apple and Amazon will show us a little bit of love, which allows you to support our family of shows with minimal effort.
It's a great way to support the show and find something to watch.
That's right. Head over to thenextreel.com/watch to pick out your next movie and start watching today.